Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel. It's Kanisha. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button so you can stay tuned for more videos. In this video, I'm going to tell you 4 things you shouldn't do on your CV. So take notes and let's go through this. The first thing you need to make sure you're not doing on your CV is listing out your responsibilities. Now, when recruiters and hiring managers are looking through your CV, they're not trying to read what your job description was. Instead, they want to hear about the quantitative impact you had within that role. So to highlight this, try and use the XYZ formula. So accomplish X as measured by Y by doing Z. By doing this, you'll be talking about your experience in a quantifiable way that stands out to a recruiter when they're reading it, and they can really understand the impact that you had at the last company and the kind of impact that you can drive at this next role. The second thing you want to be doing is making sure that your CV is no more than 2 pages. Ideally, you're aiming for 1 page, and that is because recruiters typically do not spend more than 5 to 10 seconds looking at your CV. So if you're putting your information in more than a page or 2, then that's a lot of information that your recruiter is going to sift through, and more likely they might not even turn to the second page. So try and summarize your information to be in 1 page. I feel like this is something that's a little bit easier done when you are early on into your career because your experiences may not be as extensive. But if you have had a few years of experience or decades of experience, then try to minimize it to being just 2 pages long. But if you have had more than a few years of experience or decades worth of experience, then try to reduce it to just being 2 pages long maximum. The next thing you shouldn't be doing on your CV is to have it badly formatted. So I'm talking everything from the font that you're using, the size of the font, to how you're saving your document. You want to make sure that the formatting is not poor. So firstly, with that font and the size of the font, make sure that it is eligible and not fancy writing. So keep it simple. Sometimes just stick to Arial, makes it as simple as possible. And also you want to make sure that you're not just having large chunks of paragraphs into your CV, because like I mentioned earlier, recruiters are not spending that much time going through your CV, so they might not have time to skim through that whole paragraph. Instead, think about bullet points. Think about how you can shorten your sentences, and using those impactful quantitative metrics I mentioned at the beginning, that could be the way that you highlight the strong elements of your CV without pouring them into a paragraph. Another thing you want to make sure that you're doing is to not focus too much on the design. Sometimes it depends what kind of industry you're in. So if you're in the creative space, then perhaps a more creative CV can showcase some of your talents. But if you are going for a corporate role, you want to make sure that you're keeping your CV as simple as possible, because design is not as important. Instead, it's the information that you put in there. And another thing is that sometimes they're using different systems, like an ATS system, that may not read your CV as well if it's in a design versus if it was in a simple format. So keep it simple. And lastly, you want to make sure that you are saving your CV as a PDF rather than a Word document. The issue of doing a Word document is that the other person's device, depending on what they're using, can really rejig your whole CV. So the way you structured it might not be the way that that recruiter is opening it, and now they're thinking this person did a poor job on structuring their CV. So instead, you want to use a PDF because it will maintain the look and feel that you intended for the CV to have. The last thing, and quite important thing, is you shouldn't have grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes in your CV. So make sure that you're running your CV through different systems like Grammarly, or having another person look at your CV to see if they can spot out any grammatical issues, any spelling mistakes, because you want to make sure that your CV is as strong as possible. And if you've written down in there that you're a detail-orientated person, but lo and behold, there's plenty of mistakes, it kind of contradicts that. So you want to make sure that there are no spelling mistakes or grammatical errors in your CV. So have a once over, have somebody else look at it, or use a spell check-in website like Grammarly to make sure that your CV has no errors. I hope these 4 tips helped. These are 4 things you make sure you shouldn't have in your CV, and if you keep those things in mind, you can have a stronger CV. Thank you so much for watching this video. Tune in to tomorrow's one where I'll share some more information or just have something else lined up as part of VLOGMAS.